one thing that I'd like to mention, and I think everyone, if there's one thing you can take away from this podcast in general, it's that you need to surround yourself with people that have conflicting ideas with you, because if not, you're just in an echo chamber that literally you don't ever grow from. You don't ever expand your mind. If you're just around people that have the same beliefs as you, you're never going to be challenged. And if you're never challenged, then you never expand yourself and grow. And so even though you and I, you haven't changed my beliefs on anything, and I'm sure I haven't changed your beliefs on anything, but there's like a mutual respect there for opinion that develops the more you talk to someone that doesn't or share your exact belief on life, is that you understand how people can or think certain ways or believe certain things without being like, oh, this person's wrong and anyone that listens to him is the devil.
Well, and that's the way our society is we make everything a witch hunt now.
Yeah.
That's the council culture. That's where we take it, up to, Democrats, Republicans, red versus blue.
Oh, it's a laughing stock.
It's gotten ridiculous, and it is constantly some kind of witch hunt.
Yeah.
Because somebody has a differing opinion. If you believe the stuff we talk about on here, you shouldn't just listen to podcasts that support your view. Yeah. You should be listening to podcasts that challenge your view. Because once you stop challenging your view in the world, once you kind of stop exposing yourself to different people, is where you're kind of stuck.
That's where you get extreme too. That's where you enter into those fringe territories that is very hard to crawl out of.
Yeah, you find justification for doing bad things.
So, which
is the same that maybe that one witch parent found justification for punishing,
for hexing the kid's friend.
Yeah, it's just a fine line. We see it in all of our film and entertainment. That's the constant story, is
true, stepping
over that threshold and not ever being able to come back.
So, and luckily for our listeners, you guys get both perspectives in one podcast, so you don't have to go anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, one's
you
right.
You belong to us.
It's mine.
Yeah, one's right. It's mine. As Christian just said, it's mine. And anyway, I think Christian's going to lead us in this next story now that we have fully indoctrinated all of you with exactly how we think about everything in this world. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. I don't know what that means. Gingersaurus Rex. So now we know.
The gingers are the one people.
Ron Weasley.
What a nerd. See?
All right. The last apartment I lived in was me and 3 friends living together. The first 8 months in the apartment, everything was normal. Then there was 1 week where weird shit started to happen. All of us got this really bad cold at the same time. The sickness would cause me to wake up every morning with such bad vertigo that I would throw up. Items in the apartment would go missing and turn up in a completely different part of the apartment. Like the TV remote would go missing and then someone would find it in a kitchen cupboard. And every time this happened, no one remembered moving it or knew they wouldn't have moved X object into Y location unless there was a lot of drugs involved. That part I added.
Love math in an episode about ghosts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Love meth. Of course, you had to say drugs. And I was like, meth?
Yeah. I can't wait to hear that again. I love that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. Our oven stopped working properly, and I would wake up in the middle of the night with the feeling that there was a presence hovering over my bed watching me. I followed all the advice that my superstitious friends gave me. I covered all the mirrors in my room before going to bed, and I woke up one night and felt the presence of the ghost in my room and yelled at her to leave me alone. Anyway, after about 2 weeks of us all feeling like we were losing our minds, roommate number 3 ended up telling the new guy she was dating about the weird supernatural stuff. Guy took it very seriously and then went to confront his ex-girlfriend. Turns out his ex-girlfriend was a Wiccan, and one of the Wiccans who doesn't have a problem doing black magic, I guess. And she was super jealous that this guy was dating someone new. So the ex-girlfriend had put a curse on roommate number 3, and that's why our apartment had become haunted. I guess the guy said something to convince the ex that the way she was reacting was not fair and got her to lift the curse, and our apartment immediately went back to normal.
Weird.
Is it weird though?
It's like, remember how I told you, and he might actually come out here he might have to work out here for a little bit. So if he does, I'm going to try to get him on the podcast. But my buddy, that's similar to the story my buddy had with his ex-wife, I think it was. Her mom was like practicing black magic in their closet or something. And there were some crazy bad entities in that house that literally, it took a, film crew, like an actual paranormal team to come through and try to sort out. But like stuff that made him a believer for sure that this stuff is real and not to be messed with. Because when he found out that it was his like ex-wife's mom or something that was doing these rituals and whatnot in their closet, that
What if, okay, let's take for a minute the stance that this stuff is real.
Oh, I've been taking that stance forever. So
okay,
yeah.
but let's just say we are.
I will hold firm that stance.
We are.
Yeah.
Not just you.
You are joining me.
I am joining you,
stance.
and
Gotcha.
I'm gonna take this up another level and make it even scarier.
Okay.
If possible. Okay, so we have, according to this episode, a belief that witches have the power to do this.
Yes.
What if all humans have the power to do this? And all those thoughts, especially at that age, that younger age, maybe from teenagers on up into the 20s, where our emotions are really excessive. Love, hate, we all been through that age where like you fall for a girl or a guy, doesn't work out, and it's like the end of the world.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what that age does. What if that age group or that part of your life is just so emotionally charged that we're putting spells out even when we're not practicing witchcraft? It's something that all of us are capable of. We all have this power. And when we're hexing, the girl down the street because she didn't date us or because she is not as popular, as you.
Yeah.
The type of thing that we all have that power. So basically this is going on all the time. And the only time we really talk about having that kind of energy or power over other people and their environment is when we want to throw a witch. Yeah. But this is a problem every day.
Yeah.
Everyday magic, maybe.
Yeah. Well, can I add on to that?
Go for it.
I 100% believe that that's the case. I don't think that's like far-fetched at all. I think every person does have the ability to do these things. And I think everyone does in a sense. And my mom growing up would always tell me, because as you know, your boy jokes around with negative jokes and is always, I can be a downer at times or most times. And so like every time I'd like pull that shit on my mom or anything like that, she'd always tell me, just remember that life and death is in the power of the tongue and that you gotta, you have to speak things that actually bring life instead of constantly, you're going to find that it actually does help. And so my entire life, I've believed that everyone has the ability to do that. And I've proven on multiple occasions that everyone has that ability by me doing it myself numerous times. The only difference is that I think when it comes to actual witchcraft, it's these people that are actively studying like different ways on how to manipulate this stuff or different ways to improve this or go about your own way. Whereas someone like myself, who is just more of a religious, like I have a relationship with God type of thing, I don't do it myself because I know that it is not me that does it. I ask for my creator to do it for me, which is like, for me personally, it's happened. And you can say, well, it's just that you spoke it into existence and it happened. And to me, I'm like, no, I asked God for it and he gave it to me.
But there's a lot of people that would ask God to do really heinous things.
And he wouldn't. And so I think that would be a form of like a hex or dark.
I don't think it is necessarily. I think it's the intention in it. And again, it goes back to like, I made I think earlier in the episode, I believe it was this episode, I made a Depeche Mode reference, which is a band that I liked throughout the years. Another one of their first albums is called Speak and Spell.
Yeah. So
basically, what we're talking about is every word we speak, every thought we have in the form of words is a spell. And so that's the world. That's what we're putting out into the world. And it's what we get back because it's a spell.
Yeah.
And that spell, if you're religious, can be supported by God. If you're not religious, it could probably be supported by science on an energetic level.
Sure.
It doesn't really matter. That part doesn't matter. What matters is
the fact that it's real.
Yeah. And okay, so the fact that it's real, you getting ready to become a parent, it becomes very imperative to teach a child to verbalize the world in a way that is a little bit more helpful.
Yeah.
And not get trapped in that dogmatic view that this is the way, my only way, no matter what. I mean, I'm not talking just church. I'm talking that if we're going to learn from this witchcraft episode, it's like we all have this power, whether we are the practicing witch, we practice this art for good or bad, or we're just some human that's angry or hurt at the moment and we speak things into existence we shouldn't. If we have the power to hex our friends just because we're having a bad day, maybe we need to really think about how we're interacting with the world.
Yeah, well, there's a very prolific figure in history that said something along the lines of if you, and this touches on the even just intention or belief on anything, but if you even look at your neighbor's wife with lust, you've already committed adultery.
That's ridiculous. You can't punish yourself for being a human. You can punish yourself.
It's not about having the thoughts. It's about controlling and like taking captive those thoughts.
Or is in the Buddhist way of you recognize you had that thought and then you just let it go and move on. Different viewpoints.
I think they're actually very similar. I think
it is. It's almost and if you go to anything, that is based on maybe
Again, like